So what are the differences between the M10 V1 and the V2? We're going to do things a little bit different. We're going to separate into part 1, which will be our normal review, and part 2, we're going to be directly comparing the two and all their claims associated with those differences.
In the spring of 2019, the NAD M10 made its debut. With its elegant design, tech, and performance, the M10 quickly became an industry favorite. This is the new M10 V2. What's the difference? Does it sound better? Perform better? Is it that much better than the original M10? Let's get into it. Welcome to Hi-Fi. I'm Marcos, this is Kurt, and today we're having a look at the brand new NAD M10 V2. The NAD M10 V2 retails at $38.99 Canadian, or approximately $3,200 US. The M10 V2 is an all-in-one streaming amplifier that is BlueOS enabled. 100 watts per channel, 2 analog inputs, coax, HDMI ARC, and optical, featuring 2 sub-outs. Also has some really cool tech behind it, Dirac Live, and Dolby Surround Sound compatible.
I still remember the first time I saw this thing. I kind of instantly loved how the way it looked, because one thing is, I think just the size is just so easy to place. I like how it has all the rounded edges. This is all one piece aluminum that wraps around here. And the screen, I would say it's one of the larger screen, and it's nice how it fills up almost the entire front panel, or at least 80% of it. And you don't really notice much of a bezel around the screen.
Yeah, I totally agree with Kurt. I love the way this looks. It really brings in like the new era of high-end audio. Overall setup-wise, the M10 is actually really nice and easy to set up, I find. With the BlueOS app, you just plug it in, open the app, you're able to add a player, and it'll set it up as an AirPlay speaker, or if you have Android, it'll just connect to your network, and you're almost ready to go. After that, you can customize all your sources to whichever one you're going to use. Through the application, you can name them, you can change the icons as well, which I really like. Another nice part about the M10 setup-wise is the ability to add all your streaming services and internet radios to the BlueOS app, meaning you can really control all your library through their application. So it's kind of nice that you don't have to constantly navigate from one app to the other to go through your music library.
A couple of things that would add to this setup, which we won't go in detail right now, though, is the fact that you can run it in Dolby Surround. And another thing is the Dirac. Dirac, for all you don't know, it's the ability to do room correction through the DSP. That way, a lot of times on your different environments, which is I really like, is you can fix for those problems and help solve some of those issues that you might have. So I find the overall performance just very neutral. I really feel the same way. Everything from a 328 all the way to the M33, and this one included. It just got that really neutral, I'll say accurate sounding sound that will appeal to a lot of people.
Overall, when listening to the M10 V2, I just think it's extremely clean sounding. The bass, the mid-range, and the high-end frequencies just bring on this clarity and clean sound that is really nice to listen to. When it came to our classic dB test on the M10 V2, around 60 decibels, normal conversation level. Usually Class D amps, I find at lower volume levels, they sound pretty thin. They're not quite as present, but with the M10, it actually did a really good job, and that clarity really comes into play. Across all the frequencies, it was really easy to spot the instruments and really still enjoy the music even at low volume levels.
the high volume levels were just impressive. I think we reached 92, which we could have pushed a lot more. At its peak, even at long term, you're looking at a good 85, 86 dBs, which is really high compared to a lot of the other stuff that we play. So in terms of output, it's going to be really neat to see when we compare it to the V1 to see how much their claims, because they claim a 6 decibel gain over the V1.
When it came down to listening to the M10 V2, we listened to a wide variety of music, multiple different genres. 2 songs that really stood out for us. One was actually recommended by one of our viewers, Michael Hedges, Aerial Boundaries. This song is pretty incredible, extremely well recorded, and it was actually Grammy nominated for one of the best recordings when it came out. The guitar in this is incredibly detailed, and I found that clarity of the M10 really brought that to life.
I just want to say thank you again to that recommendation by our viewer, and because this was really neat. I can understand why I think they won or nominated for a Grammy on the production, the recording of this, because it was neat. You could tell they took a bunch of separate recordings and they kind of put it together. What was really neat, or what this amplifier was, or this setup was able to do, you can hear, because they mic'd a lot of things really close, and then they wanted things to sound like in the distance, and that contrast between that, you was able to pick up on this, because everything in the front had a certain amount of attack and weight to it, and because this was able to really distinctly do that, it really separated from everything from the background, and it's just a neat way of mixing things. Overall, just played it back very well.
The second song that really stood out for us today, Melody Gardot, Don't Talk. This song is very moody sounding, and I found on the M10, it really brought that to life. Her vocals are extremely clean. The instruments all around her are very well detailed. I just really enjoyed it.
One thing I noticed is the ability in the song was to soundstage. When she's singing, it stands out from the rest of the instruments in the background, because there's quite a bit of stuff going on in here. And the ability to create that feeling or the perception of depth was really well done in the song and portrayed very well on this all-in-one.
As fellow music lovers, we always love a good music recommendations. Please share some more of your favorite tunes to us in the comments down below.
So for the comparisons, we're going to keep this really simple. So the 2 qualifications are, it has to be an all-in-one, a true all-in-one, and relatively close to the same price point.
The first comparison we'd be looking at would be the name Unity Atom. The Unity Atom is an AB amplifier featuring 40 watts per channel. And personally, myself, I'm a big Name fan. I prefer the sound of the Name. It's a little bit more rounded sounding to me than the clarity of the M10. When it comes to usability and setup though, I would give it to the NAD M10 V2. The app just works quite a bit better. The Name app still has it's a little bit harder to navigate, but it still works fairly well.
If you're looking more for that really kind of neutral kind of sound on there, then definitely the NAD. The NAD2 will also be quite a bit of a more pinpoint soundstage. And those strengths you might like better over the Unity. I think they're both very comparable, and I'm not going to pick one.
Our second comparison would be the Cambridge Audio Evo 150. We actually did a review on this. This was actually one of our first reviews. And if you want to check it out, click on the link below. Let us know if we've limbered up at all. The Evo 150 is quite similar to the M10 amplification-wise, featuring a Class D amplifier. A little bit more power out of the Evo 150 though, 150 watts per channel. Another thing I really like about the Evo 150 are the tactile buttons and knobs. I always like that. And the M10, of course, is fully touchscreen, so it's a little bit different.
One thing I'm trying to remember from our last review, but I think it does have a little bit more bass control, and it should be. That's the whole idea with the latest Encore. It just has the ability to drive speakers a lot better. One thing I really do want to stress is, compared to both the Name and the Cambridge, is that the rack on there. And a lot of times, some people they're just going to need it. If you've got some rooms that are just very difficult to work with, this is a way to help solve or combat some of those issues that you might have with your environment.
One thing I also noticed with the M10 and the Cambridge Evo 150, setup wise, they're very, very similar. So I wouldn't really factor that into the comparison. They are a little bit different interface, but both are really nice and easy to use. We really recommend the NAD M10 for people who have everything from a small to a medium largish size room. Or if you have a really strange environment, the Dirac room correction really helps with that. The M10 is also, I highly recommend it for somebody who wants something extremely simple and easy to use. With all its connectivity features and ease of use for the app, I really like it for that.
This really has the ability to drive a lot of speakers out there on the market. Because of its more neutral tone presentation on there, this is really going to work with just a lot of speakers. So I would just let your speakers do the talking. So whatever, maybe if you like a certain speaker or a certain flavor, try to pair that with this and see how you like it.
We'll see you in part 2 where we're comparing the V2 to the V1. Thanks for watching our video today on the NAD M10 V2. If you have any questions about the M10, please let us know down below. Please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one.